Hello and welcome to Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys. My name is Hunter. In this podcast, I'll be joined by a different guest each week to discuss a classic Western movie or TV show. I've been a fan of classic Westerns for as long as I can remember, and in recent years, they've become very nostalgic for me. I love the aesthetic, the tropes, and I love seeing different filmmakers' takes on them. At their best, they're incredibly entertaining, rewatchable, and some of my all-time favorite movies are Westerns. We'll mostly focus on Western movies made in Hollywood, but we'll also be covering spaghetti Westerns, and one thing I'm very excited to get into are Western TV shows. I've got some amazing guests coming on the show, film professors, historians, and podcasters. And Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys is part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, and many guests on the show will be from other shows on the network. Thanks for listening.
If you're looking for more horror outside of the mainstream, look no further than Unsung Horrors, a podcast about underseen horror movies. I'm Lance.
And I'm Erica. Every other week, we'll cover a horror movie with fewer than 1,000 views on Letterboxd. We'll even give you double feature recommendations to pair with the movies we discuss.
From gothic to shot on video, from slashers to comedies, from giallo to J-horror, we'll cover all the subgenres. So join us as we unearth these hidden gems of horror.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at Unsung Horrors, available wherever you listen to podcasts. And part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
And welcome to the Kulturecast. I'm Chris Stachiw, and I am joined by two people that are very near and dear to my heart. The host of the one-season show, Jess, Byard.
Hello.
And recent award winner. More awards just coming your way.
It's true. I mean, for our advertising awards.
Still counts.
My Secret Life of Advertising.
My Secret Advertising Life by Jess Byard. And we are also joined by our good friend, straight from the West Coast, the writer of the Mothman Prophecies, and a current writer on DC Titans, the one and only Big Richard Hatem.
Hey, you guys.
Big Richard from the West Coast, you're on 24 AKM. What do you got to say for us, big guy? Oh, boy.
That's right. Yip.
Boy, we could just be the worst radio show on the planet. Just play no music and just scream at each other all the time. So, you know, like radio. Radio in the 2000s, radio anytime. Did you guys hear this story on the news? Yeah, me too. Let's make fun of it for 10 minutes and play some shitty music. Cool. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I've got like an aversion to the radio now at this point. If I get in my car and my phone doesn't immediately connect to my Bluetooth, I'm just like, nope, I can't.
No! Start screaming and smashing your head against the steering wheel. I don't want to listen to the top 20. Oh, God.
Well, there doesn't seem to be any reason to listen to terrestrial radio anymore. When you can listen to any one of a billion Spotify channels or, Sirius channels. It's like, but you would be shocked at the number of Ubers or Lyfts that I get into, and they are fucking blasting some, 101.9. Hey, it's, Frosty and Jamie and Didwad.
Frosty. It's Frosty in the morning. I believe it. The crazy thing is with all of the stuff to listen to, podcasts, audiobooks, you choose to listen to the radio.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's for people who just don't really have a passion about anything.
I just don't care.
No, you know what they've got a passion about? Your car insurance commercials, because you get about 15 minutes of them.
Switching to Geico will save you money and waste your time on the radio.
To be fair, if you don't pay for like Spotify Premium or whatever, you're still going to get all those ads.
That's true.
Oh, and then you get this. O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hey, man, they pay the bills over here at the Kulturecast. We have the O'Reilly ads running before every episode, including this one. not by choice. That's just who Spreaker runs the ads through. So there you go.
Oh, good. So it's okay for me to say fuck O'Reilly Auto Parts?
I mean, the thing about getting ads on a podcast is unless you're one of the big ones where people are like, you guys want some free Casper mattresses? Which, by the way, yes, please. I would gladly take a Casper mattress. Essentially, any podcast kind of distribution platform is going to just stick their kind of ad melange on top of your podcast. So it's not any sort of targeted advertising. It's just like, oh yeah, O'Reilly Auto Parts or some other bullshit that nobody cares about and skips through with their phone.
Right. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that, because when I was listening to the Kolchak tapes, they would have some commercials, but then the commercials would sort of cut into the middle of the show in a really weird way. Did you know this?
Yeah, so on Spreaker, you can actually, like, tell it where to put the ads, and you can just say, put it halfway through the podcast, and it'll just go, boop, and there it is. So, you know, this is how the sausage is made, folks. You guys need to know about how the sausage is made if you're going to listen to podcasts.
Behind the podcast curtain.
Oh, that is some nasty sausage.
Oh, boy, isn't it? Speaking of nasty sausage, we're going to be talking about the final film of Unconventional Musical Month, which, again, boy, it's pushing the envelope with what we would consider a musical. We're going to be talking about Bob Fosse's autobiographical film from 1970. Yes, semi. Yeah. From 1979, All That Jazz.
Candy Casey, very good. You're going to do it again, Victoria. Stop smiling. It's not the high school play. Count.
5, 6, 7, 8. 1.
All that work. Stand on your right foot. Point your left toe. Drop that shoulder. All that pain. That's not too hard, is it? Oh, boy, do I hate show business. All that glitter. Jokes is what I need.
Joe, you love show business.
That's right, I love show business. All that love. I'll go either way. It's showtime, folks. All that jazz. Give it to me.
It's autobiographical, except, spoiler alert,
You won't see the engineer that slams the Nissan Rogue's door 13,920 times. Or the corrosive chamber that simulates 15 years of life in 5 months. Or the Rogue heat-baked for over 300 combined hours. What you will see is a vehicle that can take punch after punch and keep rolling. Nissan, #1 in new vehicle quality among mainstream brands by J.D. Power. We put it through the worst, so you get its best. For J.D. Power 2025 U.S. Initial Quality Study Award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Awards based on 2025 model year. Newer models may be shown.
Have you ever wanted to dive deeper into the horror movies you love? Beyond the Blood is a horror podcast for fans who want more than just surface-level screams. We do deep dives into the movies that shaped us, digging into director commentaries, behind-the-scenes stories, deleted scenes, and the special features that most people skip. Each episode is a love letter to the genre. We break down how these films were made, the creative risks that paid off or didn't, and the lasting impact they've had on the genre as a whole. From 70s slashers to modern nightmares, we celebrate the craft, chaos, and characters that keep us coming back. If you're the kind of fan who rewatches movies with the commentary on, or you simply grew up in the video store horror aisle, the Beyond the Blood podcast was made for you. New episodes every single week. Subscribe, let's dig deep. Welcome to the Beyond the Blood podcast.
Movie, he dies at the end, but I'm pretty sure Bob Fosse was alive when he directed it, so that's a real thinker.
But it's really, oh god, we'll get to it. But like you said, it is directed by Bob Fosse. It's about Bob Fosse's life, in quotations, so much so as his girlfriend at the time, Anne Reinking, is playing his character's girlfriend in the movie, which is some sort of weird cuck fantasy. I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of weird, right? It's a little odd. I'm not judging. It's just like your actual girlfriend is with your doppelganger character on screen in bed naked. Like, what?
Fair.
Sure. But the film is directed by Bob Fosse. It's written by Robert Allen Arthur and Bob Fosse. Roy Scheider, not Schneider, Roy Scheider of Jaws. Yeah, Rob Schneider. Roy Scheider of Jaws fame plays Joe Gideon, a.k.a. Bob Fosse. And Jessica Lange plays the Angel of Death. So, Richard, I am curious. Had you seen this film before? If you had, what did you think when you first saw it? If you haven't, what did you think watching it now?
I saw it many years ago, not when it came out, but probably soon after, when cable was in its infancy. And then I saw it again about 10 years ago with one of my kids, and then I saw it again this weekend. And my opinion of it remains, I love it.
What about you, Jess?
So the first time I saw this movie was actually just like, I don't know, maybe like a year or two ago. It's my friend in real life here in Ohio showed it to me because it's one of her favorite movies, and we just watched it on just a regular hangout night. And I watched it then, and I watched it now, and I am in agreement. I absolutely love it.
I had not seen it until watching it for this Kulturecast, but I knew about it. I like Roy Scheider a lot. Roy Scheider has... I mean, look, for a lot of folks, Roy Scheider is Brody, and that's it. And obviously, he had a bigger career than that, a much bigger career, spanning like 4 decades almost. And, you know, just calling him the guy from Jaws, which I think a lot of people would only know him as Brody, is unfortunate because he has a lot of range as an actor. Enter All That Jazz, which is a film that, and the three of us are content creators. One of us works in Hollywood, one of us works in the film industry in Akron, and one of them sits here at their computer typing in a silent room by themselves like an asshole. The three of us all create content and are invested in what we create, and watching this film is very relatable in ways. In a way that I kind of expected it to be relatable, but it's a lot more relatable than I thought it was going to be, for a number of reasons. But yeah, it is, I want to say that this is one of the weirder films that I've seen in a long time, but I think it's weird because of the stuff surrounding the film, not the film itself. The film is rather straightforward, but a lot of like the fact that it's a film about Bob Fosse's life, a very small period of time in his life, that's directed by Bob Fosse, and he effectively predicted his own death, is really kind of bizarre, but at the same time, only Bob Fosse really could have pulled this off.
And I mean, it makes sense. Like, it's like, well, Chris, first of all, we're all writers, so we all spend a significant amount of time sitting in a silent room typing away like assholes.
Well, I'm not going to condemn everyone else to being an asshole. I just know that I am an asshole.
But no, this...
Well, you're not... See, Richard, you're the lovable asshole. I am the, like, smart aleck asshole that people either love or hate, and there's no middle ground. You're a lovable guy, Richard.
But yeah, this movie is... Yeah, the reason that my friend showed me this movie is for that exact reason that you said, Chris. It's painfully relatable at times. Like, this is a movie about... I mean, it's a movie about show business. It's a movie about somebody who's hugely ambitious, very dedicated to their career at the expense of pretty much everything else in their life. Which, I mean, when he... Sure.
I'm sorry, I wasn't supposed to talk over anybody, but I just got too excited. So when you guys say it's relatable, I assume you're talking about kind of the way that that the character of Joe Gideon was portrayed as being obsessed, like a perfectionist, a workaholic, someone who would like almost, literally, figuratively work himself to death. I mean, I don't know. Is that what you guys are identifying with?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that on my end, definitely. I mean, it's not that he's just, like a workaholic in just any job. Like, you can be a workaholic in many professions. But the fact that he is he's Bob Fosse, right? So he's a theater guy and he's a filmmaker. And so he's just super ambitious and has all of these projects that he's juggling at one time. And that's where I feel I relate so badly, because I have so many projects. None of them are ever what I want them to be. None of them, because, perfection doesn't exist as much as we try to strive for it. There's just a few lines in this movie that just really hit, like, oh God, yeah, like when he's just getting basically just just his ass handed to him by his girlfriend for sleeping with other people, which is, what he does throughout this movie primarily. And she says a line where she says, "I wish you weren't so generous with your cock." And he can't even get out of the mindset long enough, because he's just like, wow, that's a great line. I need to put that line in something. And like, I think I don't know, I've been there in situations where it's like a bad situation, but you're like, oh, but that's actually...
You won't see the engineer that slams the Nissan Rogue's door 13,920 times. Or the corrosive chamber that simulates 15 years of life in 5 months. Or the Rogue heat-baked for over 300 combined hours. What you will see is a vehicle that can take punch after punch and keep rolling. Nissan, #1 in new vehicle quality among mainstream brands by J.D. Power. We put it through the worst, so you get its best. For J.D. Power 2025 U.S. Initial Quality Study Award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Awards based on 2025 model year. Newer models may be shown.
Hey, this is Jason Kleberg from the Force 5 podcast, a show that forces a guest to come up with a movie-themed top 5 list topic, and then we reveal our picks on air. Top 5 heist films, top 5 tearjerkers, top 5 movie dogs. Every show you'll be asking yourself, what would be on my list? Guests include directors, screenwriters, actors, podcasters, musicians, authors, and even a professional wrestler. Subscribe to the Force 5 podcast, and you won't just be a listener, you'll be a list nerd. The Force 5 podcast, available wherever you're listening now.
Really good, and I need to stow that away for later.
That's funny. Chris, do you feel the same way?
I actually was going to say, like, I didn't really have anything to add because, I mean, Jess, you're completely right. It's hard for me to take myself kind of out of creator mode and put myself in just like, I don't know. I mean, we were talking about this. I don't remember if we talked about this on or off podcast last time, but like, it's hard for me to watch movies now and not be critical. And I see like stuff like that bleeding into my just life in general. And it's hard to not think about things and being creative and doing creative things, like working on stuff. It's hard for me to remove myself from that state of mind, because like, I always want to be helping or doing something or being creative and furthering either ideas or businesses or other things. And like, it's hard for me to turn that off. It really is.
Right.
What about you, Richard?
Yeah. Well,
you're like the real writer.
You're the real writer here, Richard, not us.
Well, I will say this, for me personally, I've actually never been a perfectionist in my work. And when I say that, what I mean is my definition of a perfectionist is it's not that I don't strive to do a good job, but a perfectionist is someone who almost it's a neuroses. It's an inability to ever put something down and stop working on it because, oh wait, I can, like you'll hear people say, like a director or an actor might say, oh, I never watch my movies because if I do, even 20 years later, I'll go, oh, I should have cut that scene differently, or I should have done something differently. And I'm like, I don't do that. Bizarrely, once something is done, I take a weird level of joy in looking at it and going, that's awesome. If I didn't like it, I've gotten over it, and if I did like it, I still like it. Also, I'm not an obsessive personality. I'm not unlike Joe Gideon, I'm not on Dexedrine. I don't smoke. I don't fuck around. I don't, and I actually don't work on a lot of things simultaneously. And all of those things are kind of tropes about creative people, like, oh, he's that type. But I do enjoy watching it. It is portrayed so perversely entertainingly by Roy Scheider and Bob Fosse that I will never get tired of watching that little montage of the pill, the cassette playing, Roy Scheider, taking a shower and feeling like shit, and then putting himself together with the eye drops and finally going, it's showtime, folks.
Yep. Yeah, no, I see everything that you described as your vision of perfectionist. Yeah, that sounds about right. I'm super neurotic.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Obsessive personality, absolutely. Well, obsessive personality, absolutely, yeah. And it does, obviously, it's not stopped me from working and entirely, and I have, managed to write some things, but it has prevented me. I'm still, everything I look back and that I've done, I am like, yeah, I should have done this, or I could have done this better. And it has, been a hindrance from time to time, and I do wish I could just have that, like, kind of finality with certain projects. Maybe eventually I will get my discipline to a better degree, but at this point now, no.
Well, and I'll say that I find that the personality trait of perfectionism is sort of a separate thing from the quality of it's not like a perfectionist always does great things, or a perfectionist always works a thing to death to the point where it loses all of its, spontaneity. A thing just becomes what it is for a million different reasons. You just it's more of what your life turns out to be. You're either sort of a slave to that process, and maybe you have a hit and maybe you don't, or you're not a slave to that process, and maybe you have a hit and maybe you don't. My goal in life was never to be a great artist, as is proven in all of my work. My goal was...
Whoa, Richard, whoa. Don't rag on yourself like that.
My goal has always been to have fun, and to have a fun life doing the job that I wanted to do. And it's taken me 20 years of therapy to very carefully separate out those two things and figure out a way. So I look at something like this and I'm like, wow, I guess it's a cautionary tale. I'm glad I'm not Joseph Gideon, because that would be sad. Although when I die, I want to do it in a musical number with Ben Vereen.
Well, that I agree with you on 100%. I will tell you, though, and I've probably told Jess this, and I have the evidence to back this up, I firmly believe that I will, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll be the one episode that matters. I will die mid-podcast. I'm going to drop dead mid-podcast.
Well, I'll just think you got disconnected like Chris. Hello.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
See, now that you said that, that's why I will always... See, now I will do any podcast you want, because I have to increase the odds of being on that podcast, because I really want...
But see, here's the thing. A couple years ago, when Captain America Civil War came out, I was in the throes of really awful appendicitis. And I did a podcast with while my appendix was turning my body sideways. I puked during the podcast. I literally had to run to the bathroom, puke, and then come back and continue to podcast. And then that night I went to the ER. And then that night I went to the ER and I got my appendix removed the next morning. So I firmly believe I'm going to die in this chair. So the whole end of this movie is
hardcore.
I'm not hardcore. It's just I don't know. I'm devoted to the craft of podcasting, probably to the detriment of my own well-being, which is fine. But like you,
true American hero.
I don't know about that. But the way I look at
losing yourself to your work.
Yeah, exactly. But, that's kind of where I see some of the bleed over with all that jazz and like what you were talking about, Jess, being a perfectionist and losing yourself in your work and really throwing yourself into your work is the character of, let's just call him Bob Fosse, because that's who he is. And he does have a name, Joe Gideon, but he's pretty much Bob Fosse. There is a lot of things in this movie that, as a content creator who is a perfectionist, is someone who loses in their work, it is a cautionary tale. And at the same time, you also realize, you look at the people around him in the movie, he's pushed everyone away and can't even get out of his own way to be successful. He essentially alienates himself from everybody in his life because he's such a fucking asshole.
Right. And a narcissist and an egomaniac. And yet portrayed in, I actually think Bob Fosse does a very good job. I mean, let's say it's not about him. Let's say it's just a movie and about a character and Joe Gideon's the character. He does a very good job of portraying a guy with a lot of really shitty personality traits, but we are charmed and entertained by this guy and love to watch him. I never was like, oh, fuck this dude. I was like, no, I gotta see this. I'm into it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that a lot of that is, I don't think that Joe Gideon is a malicious is an intentionally malicious person. And I think that, he's a guy who he's an anti-hero, I guess, if you want to throw an archetype on him, but he's just this guy he's dedicated to his work. That is his life. And honestly, he wears it on his sleeve. So people, he at least is honest and upfront about it. And, we see him with his daughter, who's one of the 3 women that's represented in his life in this. And he tries, he really tries with her. He's a choreographer and he's a dancer. So we get to see him interacting with her and dancing with her. And yes, he has to cancel on her because he has to work and he has to do all these things. But he's all throughout this movie, he's genuinely at least trying at some point to be a decent person and trying to get around these, flaws that he has as a character that are deeply ingrained in him. We do learn, a bit of why he's sleeping around so often, and it's because of sort of a traumatizing event that happened to him when he was 14. It's in part due to that, and that sort of takes away the he's just an asshole womanizer, just all men are pigs sort of thing. He just has character flaws because he's a person. And people are not perfect. Nobody's perfect. And people who are striving for perfection in something, if people who are that dedicated, especially like him, obviously I'm not, Chris and I aren't to the Joe Gideon level, I don't believe. But, people who dive that far into it, that's their life. That's what makes them them. And yeah, sometimes that kind of makes you the selfish, self-centered asshole because you gotta cancel on people to make sure that you can get your show done in time. And like you said, you were watching this whole time and we want to you might want to dislike him, but it's hard to because he is trying and he's just making mistakes like people do. And he's at least, genuine about everything that he's doing pretty much, at least for his own, purposes. He's not genuine with his girlfriends, but that's fine.
Okay, so my question is this. So the movie that he's working on within the movie is clearly the movie, or it's supposed to be Lemmy.
Right.
It's a movie that Bob Fosse and Dustin Hoffman, and so there's a version of that. What is the musical? What is the play, the that he's working on? What is that?
I don't know, is it Cabaret?
Well, in real life, it was Chicago.
Oh, well, I suppose that makes sense.
Yeah. In real life, Lenny and Chicago were the things that were coming out at the same time.
Got it. Okay.
That makes sense.
All right.
Yeah, that's another thing that this movie has going for it, especially for me, is I like movies that have theatrical dance in them.
Oh my God, I so agree. I'm a guy, I cannot sing, I cannot dance, and it's that era and that style of Broadway theatricality I really find interesting and watchable. So just watching all that dancing and just like people who are so physically talented, it's like watching gymnasts and circus performers. It's like I never get tired of it. I'm so impressed and admiring of their ability.
Oh yeah, like it just like I watch it and I like you, I don't sing, I don't dance, I don't do any of that, but I would love to be able to dance. Like I would love to take dance classes just to try and learn how to do some of that stuff because just watching the movement, watching how several sequences in this movie, obviously it is a musical partly. It's like a musical within a not musical movie. Like all of the musical sequences essentially are hallucinations or dreams, right? So aside from when he is, when his theater troupe is performing for the producers.
Which I thought was really cool. I was like, that looks awesome.
Yeah, it looks great. I mean, they did that whole sequence is, I would just have that just on loop in the background somewhere because it's gorgeous. Everybody in that fucking thing is, super sexy and everybody's super talented. And it's just the energy that comes through performances like that when nobody's talking, nobody's,
You won't see the engineer that slams the Nissan Rogue's door 13,920 times. Or the corrosive chamber that simulates 15 years of life in 5 months. Or the Rogue heat-baked for over 300 combined hours. What you will see is a vehicle that can take punch after punch and keep rolling. Nissan, #1 in new vehicle quality among mainstream brands by J.D. Power. We put it through the worst, so you get its best. For J.D. Power 2025 U.S. Initial Quality Study Award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Awards based on 2025 model year. Newer models may be shown.
Hello, filthy movie lovers. My name is Gentry Austin.
And I'm Casey Scott.
And we're the hosts of the Sin Syndicate, film podcast for something weirdos, anti-criterion bros, and Joseph Sarno aficionados. Join us semi-weekly as we peer into the adults-only theaters and sticky-floored cinemas of the golden age of sexploitation, when the morals were loose, the laws were murky, and the intercourse was all simulated. Find us now on the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
We're not acting, we're just performing this cohesive movement, and I dig it.
Yeah, and clearly the meaning of that sequence in this film was, like, I think Bob Fosse pulls it off. His intention was, okay, and now I'm going to show this brilliant piece of musical choreography, and I'm going to have the producers not get it at all.
Yep. And that's another, relatable. I mean, currently, in my life, I have been working in video production and, independent filmmaking for the last few years. And yeah, I've brought ideas and things like that I just think are absolutely fantastic. And then you read them to somebody or you try and discuss them with somebody and it just doesn't click. And you just want to die. Like, you just want to tell them just A, they're completely fucking wrong, and then B, also go crawl in a hole and die.
Yeah. Chris,
I don't know. I'm still here. I just don't.
Are you alive?
I'm alive. It happened, guys. It finally happened. I died.
You died on this podcast. You predicted it just like Bob Fosse predicted his own heart attack.
Fuck. Good God.
How he dies on this one and not Wild at Heart, I'll never know.
Boy, right? And here's the thing about this movie versus everything else that we've talked about, Richard. This is a really good movie.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I like Wild at Heart.
Well, that makes one of us.
Well, you can I think
I will say, though, I do find it hard to get behind this movie as a musical.
Well, okay, so...
it's a musical, but, barely.
more towards the end. I mean, once he gets into the hospital, like once he has his angina that pretty much keeps him in the hospital for the rest of the movie, then it becomes more of a musical because we're going into his hallucinations, which I mean, I love it. And this is, and I guess Chris will do this, my eye of the duck is this whole sequence where he's in the hospital going through like the 5 stages of grief, and all of that, he's directing his own just like farewell tour essentially. And I don't know, just the idea of this workaholic who even in his fucking hallucinations he can't give it a rest, it just speaks to me.
Well, even in his own ending of his own story that he's choreographing himself, he doesn't even want to, like, there's like that moment where he's like, I don't want to die, and then it's like immediately gone.
Well, that's acceptance.
Yeah, I know, but it makes so much sense with his character because it's so quick that doesn't really faze him as much as it would faze most people.
Right, yeah, because it's just like, that's just another part of life. Okay, fine. I will say that the very final song, I don't love. That's actually not, I could do without that last bit there. But, yeah, I agree. I mean, it's a musical more towards the end, and it does have musical sequences in the, in a traditional musical sense, in that like the songs are telling you the story, that's what they're as opposed to say something like Moulin Rouge, where they're just kind of just singing songs that we know without really having a whole lot to do with anything.
So Jess, you're talking about Bye Bye Life, Bye Bye Happiness. Mm-hmm. That one, right?
Right.
So you didn't love that, and I'm just curious, because there's parts of it that I really like, but I think I know what you're talking about, but what is it, why don't you like it?
I don't know. Like, I don't know specifically why. There's just, first of all, I don't really like Scheider singing all that much in that.
Yeah, Roy Scheider's singing is not great.
No, it's not. But I don't know. It just feels a little. It kind of feels just I don't know. Maybe tacked on. Maybe heavy-handed. I don't know. It just cartoony in a way that other things weren't cartoony.
It is kind of overbearing.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with all of that, and weirdly, I think it is the only time Roy Scheider sings in the movie.
I'm pretty sure it is.
It's not a triumph.
No, it's not. And I mean, hey, you know what?
They've been holding this card up their sleeve. Wow, now they're hitting us with that final just haymaker to the jaw, and it's like, wait, what?
And he's singing in this weird, there's no, and I think that's maybe what it is, because Roy Scheider doesn't have a great singing voice, and he's a great actor, and if he's doing the dancing in there, then he's also a great dancer, but yeah, his singing just leaves something to be desired, and kind of like takes maybe some of the emotion out of it, because it's just kind of flat. But yeah, that's really my, like, if we could just get rid of that last little sequence there, or at least make it shorter or small, I don't know, something.
Well, throughout the rest of the film, they did a really good job. I mean, with Jessica Lange's character, who, by the way, if you didn't know, Jessica Lange was also romantically linked to Bob Fosse at one point, which is, oh boy, it's so weird. Just some of the, okay, look, whatever, Bob Fosse, you're allowed to do whatever you want, but it's just a little too on the nose at the end of the film in a way that is, like you said, Jess, is a little cartoony. Like you said, Richard, it just doesn't land. And it's not an ace in the hole or anything. And look, Roy Scheider's character in the film is not a singer. He's a director and choreographer, so he's not even worried about the singing. Mm-hmm. So I don't understand why the whole scene at the end of the film is him singing, along with Ben Vereen, who is an actual trained
because he's got to be the star of his own show.
Yeah, sure. I get it.
Yeah.
It just doesn't
work. I think it would have worked better if he were directing someone playing him. You know what I mean? Got really, really meta. Like if Scheider was directing another actor within his hallucination that is playing him, but who's more like, more of a singer.
What if hyper meta. It's Roy Scheider directing
Bob
Fosse
as Joe Gideon. See, that would have been great.
Fucking
and you know what? Yeah, Roy Scheider's performance in this is fantastic because he has a huge, like you said, he has a huge repertoire of movies to see, but I haven't seen a lot of them. Jaws and The French Connection are probably the two that I would associate him with. And those characters are different, but they're cut in the same cloth. But this character is just, I think this performance really shows the range of Roy Scheider's acting ability because he's just, this character is not at all Sheriff Brody. Like that's it. It leaps and bounds different, and I like seeing that. And I just, I fucking love the 70s, man. I love the film of the 70s. I love the way everything looks. I love just, I don't know. It's just, especially set in this setting where everything's kind of gritty and fast-paced and, 70s city.
I totally agree. It's like, if you just go by movies, the 70s was really dirty, like grimy, like cigarette-stained walls, and just nothing was clean and nothing was new. Everything looks like Barney Miller, like the other show you're to do. And
it's color palettes.
Yeah, and it's such an odd aesthetic because then it really did change in the 80s for sure. But I do, and by the way, I'm the only one of all three of us who was alive in the 70s, and I got to tell you, it kind of was dirty.
Well,
the world was messier, and then everyone decided, you know what, let's actually kind of cut back all those plants and put a new coat of paint on things and get rid of this really gross carpeting and just kind of clean it up a little. And then it was the 80s. And
everything got really plastic.
By the end of the 80s, things were a little cleaner, a little bit.
From wood paneling to plastic.
And a lot of neon, too.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, neon.
Yeah.
I do like the fact, speaking of Moulin Rouge, which we should never talk about it ever again after this podcast, this was the last live-action musical to be nominated for an Academy Award for Best Picture until Moulin Rouge.
I guess I can't really think of a lot that came out between... I guess there were a bunch in the 80s, but... were there? I don't know. Like
Streets of Fire.
Musicals were a big thing in the golden age of Hollywood. And, when they were, musicals and everything was hugely costumed and all of that. And I love it too. And then the 70s, we had sort of more of a resurgence of more, rock operas and things like that. Phantom of Paradise and Tommy and, this
Cabaret came out in the 70s.
Cabaret. And then, I think there were some in the 80s, but then it kind of just died for a while until Moulin Rouge and Chicago and Rent and all the, when they started bringing Broadway back to movie theaters, basically.
Well, and that's
I can't think of it. What was a big musical of the 90s?
The Beauty and the Beast.
Sort of the
Disney movies
and the Disney animated movies, and Lion King, stuff like that. But
I suppose those were the dominant
live action stuff. I think Chicago was the one that brought back live action. I remember being a screenwriter at that time, and the feeling being, now's the time. Get out there with your musical. Based on
Did you have a musical lined up? You were like, now's my time?
Yeah, exactly. No, unfortunately, no. But that did spark then a few other movies. Well, Les Miserables for sure, but a handful of others, none of which, some of them were big hits, but I don't know if it became the new trend.
Well, I guess La La Land. More recently. Exactly.
La La Land is...
Exactly.
Not good.
No, if we're like comparing like musicals that have been nominated for like big fucking awards, it's hilarious to even have all that jazz, Moulin Rouge, and La La Land anywhere in the same category.
And Beauty and the Beast was nominated for Best Picture as well.
Well, I mean,
yeah,
if you could believe
but
that.
I totally get. Look, this movie, as a movie, as a musical, this movie had really great performances. It had really great dance numbers, some good quote unquote musical numbers, and it was also about something serious, which let the Academy off the hook, because it wasn't Annie. Mm-hmm. It was about sex and drugs and also
grief.
It was about show business. And show business loves show business.
Boy, and I do love show business movies. That's the other kind of like I'm a sucker for them, so yeah, that's why. But I like this side of show business, like the seedy side of show business. I love watching movies like that. Blowout. I mean, all of it. It's great.
Yeah, I like the parts of show business that aren't these sanitized, clean, cleanly, and perfect types. Like, when I watched something like La La Land, all I could think was, this movie is like too sanitized and too corporatized and overproduced. It's just like awful. It's just not good. And it doesn't, it's not treating this like serious kind of idea with any sort of, not seriousness, but it's not treating it seriously like this movie does.
Right. There's not treating the struggle of Hollywood.
Yeah, like at the very end of this movie, literally when they're zipping him into his body bag, they start playing Ethel Merman's "There's No Business Like Show Business." The ultimate.
You won't see the engineer that slams the Nissan Rogue's door 13,920 times. Or the corrosive chamber that simulates 15 years of life in 5 months. Or the Rogue heat-baked for over 300 combined hours. What you will see is a vehicle that can take punch after punch and keep rolling. Nissan, #1 in new vehicle quality among mainstream brands by J.D. Power. We put it through the worst, so you get its best. For J.D. Power 2025 U.S. Initial Quality Study Award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Awards based on 2025 model year. Newer models may be shown.
Cynical move. I mean, this movie ends as cynically as you possibly can. It's everything about it is appealing. Everything the traffic will allow. And meanwhile, his dead body's being carted off.
Yeah.
It's a wonderfully bitter ending.
I mean, halfway through, when he's having his surgery, we're cutting in between scenes of him having open heart surgery and the studio executives basically like writing an agreement that's like, well, if he dies, then we stand to gain X amount of money without the show even opening. And it's just like, oh.
Totally cynical touch that I loved.
Oh yeah, and I mean, it's there. Like that's how, once you get up above the line in certain jobs, that's how they view things. I mean, you're just a line item.
Yeah.
And if you're a problematic line item, then
yeah, it's like, oh well, if we've already figured out a way to make money on this without actually having to go through the heartache of doing it, let's just hope that Gideon dies.
Yeah, which he does, and so I guess they get all their money, but... And I mean, yeah, there's the line where he's in the hospital and he walks in the bathroom, he's like, I hate show business, and she goes, no, you don't, you love it, and he's like, oh, that's right, I love show business. And it's like, yeah, that's exactly how, like, I in my own career currently, just having some creative differences, and... I come home and I'm angry about it and I'm venting and my husband's like, are you fine? I'm like, oh yeah, I'm fine. It's just how it is. Like, it's aggravating, but I'm still going to do it because I love it.
Well, the people I work with, and that I have worked with, there tends to be this sort of self-aggrandizing, like, oh, no one suffers like, Hollywood people or Broadway people or, creative people, and that, somehow this career brings on a level of suffering that's worse than other careers. But you know what? I've got cousins that are lawyers. They fucking hate their jobs. They're fucking miserable. They work with people they hate. And it's like, you know what? At least, whoever, get to do what we want to do.
Right.
We're not stuck, being a lawyer and
divorce
not
court lawyer or something.
Lawyer. Yeah, I mean, Joe Gideon got what he wanted to do. So, to a certain extent, it's like, everyone has bosses they hate, and deadlines and vain people, and it's like, you know what? Show business is certainly no worse than any other business, and it's certainly a hell of a lot more fun. I'll say that.
Right. I mean, when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, you're essentially us. We're just playing pretend, but for money. Not a lot of money, if I can give you, but the saying, it's we're not doing brain surgery, and my wife always says, in this industry, if you fail, all it means is somebody doesn't get entertained hard enough. Right.
I mean, that's pretty much the truth. I mean, yeah, nobody, unless someone actually dies while making a movie, nobody dies, which does happen.
Or a podcast.
That's true. I still think my favorite like saddest story of all time. What's the name of that movie with? Oh my God, it's got like Joe Pesci and Danny Glover in it. What's the name of that movie? Oh my God,
Lethal Weapon.
No, Gone Fishing. We talk about dying for doing your craft. Someone died while making that movie. So,
that is unfortunate.
That is a sad, sad story. But at the same time, talking about all that jazz, they probably died doing what they love. So that's not as bad. But, it feels like in my...
sad if you died making a movie that you didn't want to make, but you had to...
Right, you were contract for some reason.
You're going to fucking die somehow, so who cares? As long as it's quick and painless.
Which I think for me, that's kind of like the big takeaway from all that jazz is, like, I don't feel bad for the character of Joe Gideon because he died exactly the way he wanted to.
Yeah.
Like, he knew it. He brought this upon himself. Like, he couldn't get out of his own way long enough to not do what he was doing. And if he did get out of his way, he would probably have died anyways because he would stop creating. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, I mean, and that's what it comes down to for that character is that, yeah, sure, he had his life was pretty rocky, and everything in the hospital, having open heart surgery is a bitch. But if he were forced to like quit the theater and quit all of that and settle down, that would be the true tragedy, because it's just then he would just sit and become just like a husk of himself. If he's going to die at, burn out and die at an early age, then yeah, you're going to do it the way you want to do it.
All right, guys. So it sounds like we all loved it.
I mean, I liked it a lot, I think my favorite part of the movie is the scene when he's in the hospital and you just see him literally not giving a shit about trying to take care of himself.
Yeah, where he's just like running around and smoking and
drinking and smoking and grabbing ass and just being his usual self, even after the doctors told him, you can't continue to do this.
You will die.
You need to stop being yourself because otherwise you're going to drop dead. And then what happens?
Yeah. I think my favorite parts of the movie were the opening sequence, the on Broadway.
Yeah, that is a fantastic sequence.
It's kind of like a chorus line. I really like that. And then, oddly enough, I found the number when his girlfriend and his daughter are dancing. They do that little routine for him in his apartment that they've worked up. I just find that really charming and well done, and for some, I mean, it's so fucking corny and kind of sugary, and I don't know, but I really like it.
But it's sugary in a real way. It's not sugary in like everything is just peachy keen and aren't we the best? Just no, these people, Gideon and this woman have had problems. They're going to continue to have problems. Him and his daughter have had problems. They're going to continue to have problems. But it's just this one moment where everybody's just having a genuinely good time and nobody's rushing to be anywhere and they're just living purely in that moment.
Yeah.
I think it's the one, like, I think in my mind, it's probably the most genuine moment of the entire film.
Yeah, I would say that. I could see that. I think that his apology to like his wife, you know, like when they're nurses, but he's hallucinating that it's his ex-wife and his girlfriend, and he's apologizing, and he says, you know, I'm sorry for everything I did to you, and I'm sorry for everything I'm going to do to you. I think that, you know, even though he's admitting that, yeah, he still could probably be an asshole, he's like, no, but I'm genuinely this person, and I'm genuinely sorry for that as well.
But, you know, I mean, if we didn't have people like Bob Fosse in real life, or any of the characters that we've seen of similar nature, we wouldn't have the things that we have now, like all that jazz, so.
Now, Chris, have you seen Cabaret?
No.
Oh.
I have not.
We should have done that instead of Moulin Rouge.
But that's a conventional musical, yeah? I mean, that's like pretty straightforward.
Yeah, but it's heavy. It's not like, you know, like, I guess Moulin Rouge isn't exactly not it. Someone dies, but, you know, I don't care.
That's fair. Well, that movie's also not.
Cabaret has Nazis, and that I care more about. That's scarier.
It's true. So, Richard, what would you give the film out of 5?
Can I give it 4.5 just to reserve a little room for something I might like better one day?
It's your rating. You could do whatever you want.
Well, I didn't know if you allowed like a half.
I do. I only allow halves. Only halves, no quarters.
Because I can't give it like a 4.4 or a 4.7.
No. Don't be that guy.
This is not ice skating.
This is not ice skating. What about you, Jess?
I'm going to give it a 4.5 as well. This movie, the second time watching it, and it was better than, I mean, it wasn't better, but I guess I still felt the same way I felt when I watched it the first time, and that's really saying something, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
I'm going to give it a 4.5. I think it is a interesting movie that I think anyone who's in the business that the three of us are in, either, you know, indirectly like myself or directly like y'all, it's something that anyone who's thinking about or is part of that industry, or someone who is, does something that they throw themselves headfirst into, it's something that everyone should see, because it really does kind of give you an idea of what can happen when you completely lose yourself in everything, and you kind of lose sight of yourself, I guess. You lose sight, he just has blinders on throughout the entire movie. So, take that how you will. So, But let's take a break, and we'll play a preview for the next Kulturecast. That's right. On the next Kulturecast, we are going to be kicking off everyone's favorite month of the year. That would be Mike White March, with a look at a film that I have not seen and Richard has not seen, but Richard is going to be joining me, and Mike will be joining us as well. We're going to be talking about The Secret of Steel City. And the theme for Mike White March, as our good friend Mr. Mike White told me, is foreign sci-fi films. And no, we're not talking about Train to Busan, which I guess is more of a horror movie anyways. But we're not talking about your usual foreign We're not talking about your usual foreign sci-fi films. And if Mike White is involved, I would hope you don't expect it to be that anyways. But until then, where can people find you, Richard?
I continue to work on Titans. We're getting season 3 ready. Seasons 1 and 2 are available on Netflix International, and season 3 is coming at you. That'll be more toward the end of the year, probably around October, I think we premiere. But that's what I'm up to.
What about you, Jess? Where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at writer Jess Byard, and you can find me on this podcast at least twice a month. And also over on our podcast, The One Season Show, where we talk about TV shows that lasted only one season. And we are about to finish up our second season, so that's pretty exciting. And I just finished writing a feature script, and we're going to be going into production in March. So eventually that will be coming out somewhere that you could see it.
And your name's going to be attached to it.
It will be. Thank you.
As for myself, you can find me here on the Kulturecast, the Barney Miller podcast, Life and Times of Barney Miller, where you can find me there, Dreams for Sale, Chronicles from the Crypt, all the good places. Big thanks to our Patreon donors. As always, patreon.com/Kulturecast. We have changed the reward system, so now $1 gets you access to the bonus podcast that Jess and I do once a month. $5 gets you access to the forthcoming feature-length commentary that we're going to be recording here in the next week and releasing probably just as quickly as I can get it out the door. So if you've ever wanted to sit and watch a movie with myself and Jess, here's your chance to either do that or run away from that as fast as humanly possible. And big thanks as always to Richard and Jess for joining me for this. This was, fun as always.
Thank you,
sir.
And we will catch you on the next Kulturecast.
The audio commentary. It's a dying art form, but here at One Track Mind, I, your wonky yet affable host Ryan Luis Rodriguez, analyze film through the prism of these embryonic forms of podcasting, one audio commentary at a time. Masterpieces, crapster pieces, live action, animation, cult classics, films literally no one has ever heard of. No track is too small, and no track is too big. Join me and my guests from the entertainment world as we keep these features alive every other Tuesday. Hey, who else is going to discuss Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey one week and Citizen Kane the next? Us, that's who. Sure, you have to put up with my voice, but there's a certain give and take in this industry. That's One Track Mind, part of the Someone's Favorite Productions family and available wherever you get your podcasts.